Hello, person behind the screen. It's another time when we're looking at what God has done in the past, He's doing in the present, and what's making history. It's historic. Things coming up in London. The first, on the 9th to the 10th of January at the Proclamation Trust in central London, James Healy Hutchinson, the author of Answering the Psalmist's Perplexity, is doing 2 days on the Psalms. If you want to hear more about that, there's a connection attached. On Saturday 25th of January, IPC Ealing, a strategic local church in London, led by Paul Levy, is offering a day called Distinctives, where they're looking at church leadership. This is for prospective church elders, church ministers. They'll be looking at church history all the way from Wittenberg to Westminster. Details of that are just below. Another new resource which has just come out, which is helping a lot of people, is The Intelligencer, a weekly email collated by Dr. Kenneth Brownell, who gives our National Gallery tour, he gives our Victoria and Albert Museum tour. He's the author of The Titus Revolution, which some have called the evangelical version of the Benedict option. What he's doing is he's drawing attention to key, interesting and constructive articles and resources that are being released that week, and he's sending these out for free from the Christian Heritage London website. So if you want to go to christianheritagelondon.org/intelligencer, you can receive that email for free in your weekly email. Moving on to the present, we've had a great time giving many people walks and tours recently through London's church history, but I also had the great privilege recently of interviewing Professor Fred Sanders for our podcast. He is at Biola in Los Angeles, and he teaches at the Torrey Honors University. He is an unusually fascinating guest. He's erudite, extremely eclectic, great fun, gracious, and very articulate in gospel truth. It was a real privilege to talk with him about the gospel, about the breadth of reading, about John Wesley, one of his heroes, and about many other extraordinary insights that he'd had into the gospel. Look that up at christianheritagelondon.org/podcast. And in the past, you may have seen our On This Day video where we talked about John Newton. We love telling the story of John Newton. Here's a man who undoubtedly was a great sinner, but who saw the grace of God in his life in an amazing way. He indeed was the man who wrote the hymn Amazing Grace. Tim Keller once said he is the greatest pastor I ever came across. And I love telling his story, not least because he was a pastor of a little local church in London. There are 4 volumes of his works published, and most of them are letters, concern for people, and they are just full of gospel richness. So if you don't yet know about him, Tony Reinke's great book, Newton on the Christian Life, is outstanding, and listen to John Piper's talk about him, and of course read his own works. Selected Letters by John Newton is an outstanding book. So until next time, remember, Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever.